Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV. Well, tonight I'm out again sky watching. I am in a beautiful little spot here, and I'm at sunset, and you can see there's a beautiful sunset over there. But this time I'm not looking for UFOs, I'm actually looking for Nibiru. And I'm sure you've heard about Nibiru. In fact, if you go online and you go to Google Video or YouTube, you'll find a whole myriad of various videos concerning Nibiru. Sometimes it goes under other names like Nemesis, Wormwood, Kachina, Planet X. But I'm going to use the word Nibiru because it's the one that's most common. Now what it's supposed to be is it's supposed to be a very, very large planet that orbits the sun. Well, some legends say it orbits the sun, others say it doesn't. But what happens is, it's if you go back to legends like the Sumerian tablets and other legends, some object came through the solar system, approached the Earth, and caused terrible damage when it did. Then it just vanished again, leaving the Earth very, very different. Now, what a lot of these videos say, a lot of these people say, theorists say that Nibiru is due to return. In fact, it's due to return, some people say in 2012, tying it into the Mayan calendar turning point. So I'm out here just trying to find it. Do you think I can find it? Have a look through the sky. You can see it. Is it going to be there? Is it going to be there? Ooh. Well, you know, I'm not going to find it. The reason I'm not going to find it is because it's not there. No, it's not there. It can't be there. Okay? It either doesn't exist or it's so far away that it's not going to cause any trouble for the Earth for a very, very long time to come. It's the thing, I mean, the legends speak of an object that came through the solar system, and maybe that is true, maybe there was such an object, but it could be an object that's interstellar. In other words, it's travelling through the solar system and it's not actually in orbit around the sun. It may be travelling too fast. The legends speak of an object that moves very, very quickly. Well, you know, anyone who knows anything about the way planets move, Kepler's laws and things, will know that the speed that an object moves when it's in orbit is fixed. It cannot change. It's governed by the object's orbital track and where it is in relation to the star it's orbiting. If it's so far away, then it can't be seen. It's too far away to see. So then it's obviously, then again, it's not going to be a problem. I know I've heard people say, you know, well, it's a cover-up, it's out there, but NASA are covering it up. I actually spoke to Dex about this. I mean, if you look through my videos, there was one I did with Dex just under a year ago at the Probe conference where I discussed this with him, and I take the subject on seriously. That there's a telescope at the South Pole that's tracking Nibiru, and it's secret, no one knows about it, stuff like this. Well, I'm ashamed of myself in a way, because I should not have said that. I mean, I've learned more in the meantime, and it cannot possibly be true. The reason it cannot possibly be true is that in astronomy you can't cover things up. Now, there are cover-ups in science. I mean, I've talked about them before. I talk about them a lot. Cover-ups in biology, in medicine, in physics, you know, in terms of free energy, things like that. In terms of medical cures, yes, there are cover-ups in science, but astronomy is the one science which is truly democratic. There can be no cover-ups in astronomy because all the data is there plainly for everyone to see. You just look up into the sky. Now, I know people say Project Bluebeam can create things in the sky. Yes, it can on a small scale, but it cannot actually create a false sky. Not even the Illuminati have that kind of power. So Nibiru is not visible. No one can see it because it ain't there. It may come back one day, but that won't be for thousands of years at least. Because an object that big would be visible, even probably at its apogee, when aphelion, where it's as far away from the sun as it goes. And if it was as close as if it's as close to the Earth as it's supposed to be, if it's going to arrive in 3 years' time, it will be bigger than the moon in the sky, and it'll be messing up the tides. And we you know, it'd be obvious to everyone it was there. And there's videos claiming to show Nibiru beside the sun. Well, then that's fake. Okay, it's all fake. As I said, there can be no cover-ups in astronomy. You know. And the thing about it is, the thing that bothers me about this, and the reason I'm making this film, is that if you go online and you watch these videos, these various doomsday mongers and apocalyptists, people like Nancy Leader, people like that, are, you know, they're absolutely terrifying people. Not me. I mean, I'm a big ugly hospital porter. You know, I can take it. But there are more vulnerable people who are going to be frightened children. This sort of thing can really, really screw with a kid's head. I know, because I was terrified about things like the sun exploding, nuclear war, when I was a kid. You know, you know, there's even talk of kids, you know, attempting suicide or considering suicide because of all this crap. Okay, there's no evidence there's going to be an apocalypse in 2012. I know it's the end of the Mayan calendar. Well, the Mayans don't say anything about any kind of apocalypse. I mean, they do talk about changes. Their calendars do mark changes. I mean, they were keen mystics and astrologers and that like that, but there's no, you know, they were essentially optimistic people. They never believed in the end of the universe. They believed there would be changes, and the universe is eternal. It went on forever. Very, very different to the Judeo-Christian image of these upheavals, which is that the universe has a beginning and an end, and it's purposive, and the Book of Revelations and all that fire and brimstone and all that bullshit. So don't be scared. If you've got kids, just reassure them, all right? Show them this video. Well, I put some swearing in, so I suppose you can't show the kids, but just tell them what it's about, you know what I mean? Now, if you want to know about 2012 is a fascinating subject, and I'm not one of these people who thinks it means nothing, because I think it does. But I think it may have some more kind of, the upheavals and changes it talks about won't be things like tsunamis and earthquakes and fire and brimstone, but more like a kind of spiritual changes. Changes in human consciousness, maybe the nature of the universe, physical laws, things like that. That's what I sort of see as the changes that seem most likely to come. And I mean, if you want to learn about 2012, and there's loads of books you can get out there, most of them, if they're by people like Nancy Leader, then ignore them, because they're more of this kind of doom and gloom mongering. But people like Jeff Stray, who I saw live a few months ago, who's an excellent researcher, he's written a brilliant book, an absolute doorstep of book, with all the different aspects of 2012 in on it. And he doesn't talk about apocalypses. You know, I mean, there are others, you know, there's others, you know, like John Major Jenkins and that, again, you know, a much more optimistic view and vision. There really is nothing to be afraid of. You know, the Mayan people, you know, they would have written it much more clearly if they believed on their stones, not only on the books that were burned by the conquistadors, but on their stone monuments. They would have written it, saying, oh, forget it, guys, because when this date comes, you're history. And they never did that. As I say, the Mayans were optimists. The best thing to do about 2012, I think, is, I don't know, plan a party. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plan a party with all my friends on the David Icke Forum and other places. We're going to go to a sacred site, maybe. Probably not camp, because probably the weather won't be very appealing, because it will be midwinter. But we might stay at some place, you know, near a sacred site, and get up early and go there, go to the dawn, and go to midnight, and wait for the 11:11 moment, you know, and maybe light a campfire and have some food. That's the thing to do with 2012. Enjoy it, celebrate it, be an optimist like the Mayans were. Thanks for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porter's pride and dignity, stop the New World Order.